What is up, you guys? We're the boys of Outspoken, and we are back with another review of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 10, Episode 13?
I think so. The reunion.
Yeah.
The reunion, yeah.
The reunion, bitch, where all the tea and all the drama was basically
all
just exploding in our face.
Right? I thought my family reunion was bad. This was some tea.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, good depending on who you are and what your perspective is, but it was definitely interesting. Well, let's just get into it. Let's just talk about the reunion, what we thought. First of all, were there any looks that you guys liked? Did anybody have any looks that surprised you, or?
Actually, I kind of felt like all of the queens, for the most part,
turned it out
really
pretty
good looks. Yeah, bitch, Miss Vanjie looked glamorous as fuck.
Everything.
Yeah, she was good. What did you guys think of Aquaria wearing a brown cow? Brown cow outfit.
Like it was a little shady.
I think it was shady too. This is how you do it. I feel like it's shady too. I don't know.
I'm
Miss
not gonna lie,
Aquaria.
though, I was moved.
But bump. I mean, it was good, but I do feel like it's a little shady, you know. If anything, they should have. What if Monique would have been wanting to do that for herself, like a redemption?
Maybe that's when Monique was a little salty, because I felt like she was coming off a little strong.
Monique was a little salty. There was a few that were not having it today.
See, you drew on a good point earlier. Like, why the hell do they always film the reunion
the day after they film the finale?
Yeah. I mean, I guess in all fairness, they're gonna get dramatics for the reunion because that's the whole point of the reunion. You know what I mean?
But the day after, you know, there's not quite an official winner. You know, they kind of have an idea. I mean, and some of them know if they were eliminated. Right. And I think that sometimes this goes for like last season too. There was a few of them that were really salty at the reunion, and then once we saw the finale play out, we're like, oh, that's why. Shea Coulee last year was a little angry at the reunion, and this year there was a couple girls that I felt were not feeling it. So
yeah, for sure.
Right. You could tell who's salty.
Well, the show kind of started, you know, obviously RuPaul had to give a shout out to her favorite queen of season 10, Miss Vanjie. You know, she kind of talked to Miss Vanjie about what has she done since the fame of the show. What did you guys think about seeing a little bit more from Miss Vanjie?
Bitch, I can never like see too much Miss Vanjie. Like I live for her all the fucking time. That bitch, all she has to do is open her mouth, and I love her. I think she's so adorable.
God, Dick, Vanjie.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like, I was living as well, bitch. She's just so witty and good with her comebacks. I'm like, I want more.
I just love her voice. I love how she talks. I love how she talks about things.
If she had a podcast, I would totally listen to it.
Oh my god, you're right. I would. You know what I did like? I like how she didn't know how it was going to play out for her. So she was like, oh, bitch, let me get these bookings. I
love that.
Stretch out those 15
No,
minutes.
I love that. She's like, I just called him and was like, I'm on RuPaul's Drag Race. You want me? Like, yes, book it. I'm not going to say. Yeah.
She's a business girl.
Yeah, and then, you know, she was at with Dusty at a booking, and then everyone just was yelling, Vanjie. So it just hits, and it's just crazy. Her life has changed. It's changed.
That's great. It's never, and we've mentioned this so many times, but never has the first queens to be eliminated on RuPaul's Drag Race have that kind of impact ever. You usually never, no shade, but you usually never see them again,
Yeah, no question.
No, the queens on this season didn't have that impact.
Bitch, if you here to put it simple, bitch, Miss Vanjie, you saved season 10, girl, because this season has been a mess.
It's been a good season.
I don't think it's been as bad as I don't feel like it's been as bad as some people are saying. I know there's a little bit of, you know, hate and annoyance on the internet. Yeah, but there always is.
We have Monet Exchange, Miss Cracker.
I felt like there's a lot of talent actually. Yeah,
I felt like it was. Yeah,
I just wish there.
What's up, girl?
Miss Cracker and Monet Exchange, I really wanted to be in the top. I'm not gonna lie. And after they were gone, I was just kind of like, meh. And it's not that I don't like Eureka or that I don't like, you know, Aquaria. Or
you don't like her.
I don't. Here, you know what? Let me clear this up because I read Aquaria all the time. I feel like I don't like Aquaria's demeanor. Do I think she's a fierce fucking drag queen? Absolutely. That bitch slays the runway. She's been killing it all season long. I can keep it real, bitch, but it doesn't mean I have to like her.
There you go. Well,
she said what she said.
I said what I said, bitch.
The big drama is all anybody could talk about all season, besides Miss Vanjie, was the Vixen and kind of the drama that she brought to the show and kind of her point of view. And obviously it was going to be a topic of conversation for the reunion, and they wasted no time, and RuPaul kind of asked her about it right off the bat. Opening thoughts about the whole Vixen debate? Anybody?
A part of me wishes that RuPaul would have brought up something different first, outside of just the drama. Like, ease into it. Like, hey, Vixen, how you been? you know, what, maybe if you're going to bring it up, just be like, what's the kind of backlash you've gotten since your, you know, debut? Versus, oh, let's get right into the drama, Vixen, your fault.
Right.
But I definitely see where she's coming from, because, you know, we talked about it on the show. I feel like I wish it was handled better.
Right. I feel like I hate saying this, but I do see both sides in this situation. Mm-hmm. Like, I understand, like, the whole idea that Vixen being on Drag Race was the opportunity for a conversation to be had on the actual reunion about the particular way that black queens get treated on RuPaul's Drag Race. Like, and also kind of exposing, like, bitch, the RPDR fan base, bitch, there's a lot of racist asswipes on there. Like,
this is not new.
Yeah, it's not new. We all see it. And in some ways, I'm kind of glad, because it also, like, takes this whole thing like, oh my god, the gay community is all about, you know, inclusion. And when in reality, we're not necessarily always about that. There is racism and discrimination that happens in our community, and I love that Vixen raised that conversation. It's something to talk about, and also, you know, not just for her, but for other queens of color as well.
Right.
With that being said, I do also have to say that I see a little bit of her doing the absolute most, girl. I feel like there was a way that it could have been handled. And no, I'm not trying to put the angry black woman, you know, stamp on the Vixen. That's not what I'm trying to do. Because I actually don't think she's that. When we met her, she was a fucking sweetheart. She was so warm, so welcoming, even after we had our opinions about her on the show. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I mean, I agree with you. I do definitely see both sides of it. The Vixen this season has definitely been very controversial as far as her behaviors and her message, and the kind of sometimes her things getting lost in translation because of the angry narrative, which is, you know, what she spoke out about to begin with. She didn't want to have the angry black girl narrative, and she's not the first person on RuPaul's Drag Race to be worried about that and to complain about that. Nina was worried about that, the black girl getting in her head, and, you know, other queens have spoken out. It's just, this season was the first time it really, really came to a head, and I think because of the Vixen and how political she is on and off the show, it just went to a whole nother level.
That I do want to say though about that whole thing, like I didn't like the fact that Eureka was playing it so goddamn safe on the reunion, and she almost had, there was like this level of like her just being really quiet because she knew
she wants to win, bitch. She wants to win that show.
But did you guys watch the Vixens live?
Yeah.
Basically was kind of like calling Eureka out on a lot of shady shit that Eureka was doing behind the scenes, girl, and trying to get a rise out of the Vixen.
Well, Eureka did admit to doing that one instance because she felt like the Vixen didn't like her for whatever reason. So she's like, well, let me poke the bear and, you know, see if it is really me that this bitch isn't fucking with. And,
right.
You know, Eureka did admit doing that during the season. I felt like even the reunion, she talked about it and she said it wasn't right.
Right.
So it's about taking accountability. And I think, you know, as long as both parties are willing to have a conversation and take accountability, then you can move forward. I felt like Eureka did.
I agree with you, and that for me personally is my biggest problem with the Vixen, is that she still doesn't seem to want to take any accountability for anything, and it makes it very hard to have a two-way conversation. And I know that's a little bit what RuPaul said. Obviously this was going to be a topic that would be addressed, but like you said earlier, maybe it should have been handled a little differently. Maybe we should have celebrated how vocal and how, you know, political she is, and her activism and her black girl magic, and maybe kind of you then segued that into the show where, do you think girls on the show were maybe misunderstood by your message, or it got lost, or whatever it was.
Right.
She did seem to be, at least to me watching it, that she is reaching out for a little bit of help. Maybe not like she's going through something, but she wants to feel understood, and she wants to feel like her message is valid, and she wants to, you know, feel accepted by her sisters in her community and see her point of view. And we've all been there. We've all wanted to be understood. She just doesn't know how to
articulate it and act in order to execute that properly.
It makes you angry. It makes you frustrated when you're trying to get your point across and it's not getting across and you don't know how to handle it. What did you guys think of her leaving the stage? Do you think that was fair? Would you have done it yourself? What do you think?
That was the only thing I was disappointed in. Like, I get what, you know, I do get where Vixen is coming from, but I felt like had she stayed and had a bigger conversation, no telling where it would have went, and I felt like we'll always wonder, like, could it have been resolved right there?
See, but this is where I have to say, like, coming from a bitch who is extremely passionate about shit and can get very fuming when she feels a certain type of way.
Right.
You shady bitch. No, there was this level of, I feel like, not with RuPaul and not with any of the other queens, but particularly with just Drag Race the show, I felt like it was more important for Drag Race to have a villain on the show than it was to have the conversation that Vixen's character brought to Drag Race. Do you know what I mean? They could have taken that moment to actually talk about it at the reunion about the racism that queens deal with on the show. Right. You know, and really talk about it because they
tried to get the message. Yeah, tried to really get the message.
Like, I come from the same place as her, and yada yada yada. Yeah, girl, but you're from San Diego, California, Ru. Like, you know what I mean? And in all fairness, she did live in Atlanta for a good chunk of her life and also went to the East Coast and all that. But I don't know, I just felt like there was
like growing up black and, you know, the
being black, feminine, you know, gay boy who wants to do drag.
Ru has gotten a lot of backlash for that too, because a lot of people, the argument is that RuPaul has kind of gotten out of touch with reality of being a queer person of color. But, you know, I go back and forth on this.
There's so many levels to this conversation, and I do wish that she would have stayed. I wish she could have just, you know, pulled through. Even, I know nobody wants to be sitting there and bashed, or feel attacked, but if she would have just stuck by it, I feel like it could have possibly turned around and the conversation could have been had a little bit more for everybody, for all of the queens, for the audience, and I do think that would have been very important. You know, there's just a way of doing things. It's not weakening yourself just to communicate like a normal person. It's not taking away from how passionate you are about something just by being quiet for a minute and letting someone explain and then doing it in a less angry way or less passionate way. That's not taking away your power. If anything, it's giving you power to be able to be an adult who can control themselves and say your piece and make someone understand where you're coming from instead of just, you know, storming off or having a fight about it. Oh, here we go.
Here we go.
Here we go. I don't care.
No.
You made up your mind. You made up your mind. Get off. Go!
No, bitch, but I also do kind of feel like that there was this level of the Vixen probably feeling like, well, I'm damned if I do and I'm damned if I don't in this situation, because no matter what I say, I'm going to be demonized on this show. You have to also think, she's thinking how she's going to be edited, you know, looking back at all this fucking shit, thinking about the way that Eureka made her feel throughout the season, you know what I mean, from the time that she was actually on the season with Eureka. And, you know, she pointed, there was just things she said on her live, girl, that also made me think, like, she's like, bitch, when Eureka showed up in there, she knew all the producers and was like, key, hi, you know, all the other queens are new, you know, and she already knew how to play the game. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And it just all...
But that's not her fault either. I mean, she came back to the show. Every queen who's ever come back to the show has been on her RuPaul.
From, like, who she is as a person, just because, you know, she wants to compete. I mean, that's just...
If she was trying to create this whole narrative of Vixen looking like this evil, crazy bitch, then that says a lot about
I don't think it was...
I don't think it's that either. I don't care. Look, this goes back to, we've talked about this over the seasons before, but there is a level to editing, and then there's the things you say and you do. We, as viewers, I feel are smart enough these days, not everybody, but, you know, more woke people are smart enough to realize when things are being manipulated more and when there's literal actions being shown on film. We know when there's a reaction, it could have been from anything. We know in a confessional when someone says, that bitch, that could have been from anything. We know that. But when you see something unfold, it's unfolding that way. And yes, there's always things behind the scene, but that doesn't always make it right. I don't know. I don't want to ever come across like I'm bashing the Vixen either, because I really, really do like her and I really do respect her. It's just so frustrating. I feel almost the way that RuPaul did, or maybe some other queens, is that you want to shake them and be like, I do care about you. I'm just trying to help you communicate in a different way so that people will get your message and it's not going to get lost in the angry black girl narrative or she's just bitter or whatever. I don't want that for her because she has a point, but she is her own worst enemy sometimes. I don't know.
You want to have a Tyra moment. We were all
rooting for you. That is how I feel about her. That is how I feel.
Well, I mean, how do you guys feel about Asia O'Hara's reaction to the Vixen?
I have mixed feelings.
Okay. Let me just say, first of all,
wait, are we still doing the fucking share challenge?
She said no, but she
got like worked up, and I appreciate that, like a friend sticking up for you and wanting to stick up for you a little bit, but she got a little like hysterical almost. Like it was a lot. I don't know.
A certain way, which made me think about like did it not go your way the day before? You know, at the finale, but I didn't want to read into it too much. But at the same token, I respected her for speaking
standing up
for her. But even though Miss Cracker told her, you know, to wait when the Vixen was trying to leave, she's like, wait. But
I think a few of them yelled after her.
No one really did stop her. So I get Asia's point, but I'm like,
bitch, they were probably all scared she was gonna turn around and swing on them, bitch. Like,
okay, well, what do you guys think of how RuPaul handled it? People are saying she was a little aggressive and dismissive of her feelings. Do you think RuPaul could have handled it better?
I think the one way that she could have handled it better is to actually have the discussion of racism within the Drag Race fandom. Okay. I think she could have talked about that.
Totally.
And I think that's something that could have been drawn on because I think that's what Vixen wanted.
Yes.
I think if RuPaul would have discussed that and maybe
went in on her
and then said, all right, now Vixen, now this is how I feel also about it, and this is what I think you could have done better. Because I do remember her telling Eureka, you're not excluded from this either. You know what I mean? And
because she did poke.
I don't know. I also, one of my theories with it is that now Drag Race is on VH1. It's on a bigger platform than it was when it was on
You think
Roto,
there's a lot more
I mean?
production
I think that there's also a lot more. VH1 doesn't want to be, probably doesn't want to have a show that is accused of, you know, portraying black queens in a negative light all the time. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I think that's just RuPaul anyways. RuPaul doesn't like to have a narrative on her show about not including trans or not being fair to black people or whatever it is. You know, that's why she does sort of shy away from these things. And while I don't love that, I think these are important issues that need to be discussed. I understand coming from a businesswoman and coming from someone who has built this brand and worked very hard to get where she has and opened so many doors for queens of color, people of color, queer people, drag queens, trans people, because of her actions, that she doesn't want that negative connotation. And I understand that point of view, but at the same time, she has to be careful to keep her ears open and listen to people and learn. And I did appreciate that she told all the queens, like, you guys are my teachers and I learn from you every day. I hope that wasn't just lip service and RuPaul actually meant it, because you know, we can always grow, we can always learn in our opinions and beliefs, and we can always evolve in our opinions. So I hope she is listening at the very least, even if it didn't seem like she was very much understanding Vixen's point of view on this episode.
I just hate how it ended, honestly. I hate that it's like now it's like, I feel like Drag Race's image is a little tarnished.
Yeah.
Now. Everything's just a little like, kind of all fucked up because of this situation. You know what I mean? I'm not blaming the Vixen, I'm not blaming it.
No, but we've talked about this the past couple of seasons where there's almost like an enjoyment that's lost, partly because of the production of the show, the manipulation of things, but partly because these really heavy conversations that are happening from the show don't seem to really get resolved or get traction with the show. And then you have all of the racist, crazy fans online killing it for the queens, killing it for the other fans. It is a really dark, negative spot on the, you know, on the show of Drag Race, and it's unfortunate. There were a lot of good moments in the reunion. They revisited some of the more emotional stories from all of the queens, especially Dusty Ray Bottoms. What did you guys think of revisiting some of these sad moments? It got me all over again. I had those tears in my eyes.
Oh my god, yeah. Dusty's story, like, I was fortunate enough that I've never had to deal with that with my family, but being raised in a family that does not accept you for who you are and would do something like put you into something so dangerous for not only physically but mentally, putting you in something like conversion therapy, like
that fucks you up for life.
Crazy.
That's like a lifelong screwing with your psyche. That's very damaging. So I can't even believe it still exists in this day and age. That's what's a problem. That there are still places that are.
If there's one thing I know after this new president, everything is still here.
Yeah, I was happy to see Dusty open up about it because, you know, although we may not know how that exactly feels, a lot of people do. Especially in the South where we come from. It's just kind of like, you know, this secret that you kind of need to keep in, and you think you're going to be able to have a regular family or suppress it. And if you don't do that, then you're kind of like not living a traditional life, and you're getting looked down upon,
not accepted.
And so, you know, I do wish I would have converted. I feel like I would have had an easier life.
Oh, really? Yeah. Please.
I'm kidding, man.
She couldn't convert if she tried, girl.
Please. Guess who's back in the house?
Yeah.
You know, it's just really sad. I couldn't imagine.
It's really sad.
And I'm accepting the family. Like, I just.
Right. And it's so much more important that they're having this discussion nowadays, because with everything that's happening in our country and with the government and now all of these things that we thought we had come so far, they're right back to square one, or at least a lot of mindsets are. So I'm glad Drag Race continues to, you know, share these stories. Dusty Ray wasn't the only queen that had issues. This season actually had a few girls that don't have accepting or loving families.
Blair St. Clair talks about how, you know, what her first sexual experience was.
They brought that up again, another really emotional moment from the season. Monique Hart and Monet Exchange also.
She comes from a very religious family. I think she was fifth generation.
Fifth generation preacher's kid, I think. Yeah. So, you know, there's a lot of them this season that have really kind of, you know, suffered through.
Monet's mom or something, they're
from St. Lucia.
And they like, literally she was calling Monet and was like,
what is this? What is this? Oh, it's just this movie I'm in, you know? Girl, hey, I get it. And then even Yua Hamasaki, you know, she doesn't even talk about it with her family. It's not even something that exists in their realm because they wouldn't understand or accept it, and they're so set in their ways and their culture that they, you know, she thinks it would be useless to even bring it up, and that's sad.
I understand it because it makes me feel good when my mom's like, "Hey, how's Joe doing? How are y'all doing? Where's Joe at?" Or even like just any of my family, so that, and I get that. Like I don't know, it'd definitely be something I would miss.
Right. Yeah.
Well, they tried to come for my girl Kameron.
Bitch, they were coming for that muscle queen, bitch.
It was like
not
Valentina.
That one though, bitch. Anyone, but not that one, ho. But I kind of see where they were coming from a little bit. What did y'all think about the whole situation?
Well, it's interesting because, you know, the same thing kind of happened last year with Valentina. You know, you don't always get to see everything, and you don't know exactly how all the queens feel about each other until this moment, and then all the little things that bother them, they, you know, it's their time to shine. And a lot of queens actually kind of had something to say about Kameron. It wasn't just like one. A few of them said that she was not friendly, that she was cold, that she ignores them in public events and stuff like that. If that's true, I mean, I don't love it. I don't think it's a good look, but I know what you're going to say.
Kameron also made a video as well and addressed all of this and basically called the girls out and said, no, that's complete bullshit because actually at DragCon I made it a point to go to all of my sisters'
She really did.
She did.
And I do remember her posting photos with everybody.
Sure.
I don't know. It's really starting to irritate me because I feel like there's this thing with Drag Race. I don't know if it's the producers. I don't know if it's Ru. I don't know if it's VH1. I don't know. But there always needs to be like this, like it's always set up for there to be, whether it's a villain or just some way to stir up drama that is not necessary.
I think it's partly the girls. I think it's the girls, and, you know, first of all, part of it, I don't know if that's true about Kameron or not. She was warm and welcoming to us. I don't know how she's been on the show. Obviously she was quiet. But she also did make it to the very end, which nobody thought, and she sent at least 3 of those girls home. So there is always this level of sour grapes or bitterness that even we would like to think.
I like how no one voted for Shangela except Thornton.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. The past few seasons, you talk about the manufactured drama, but they've also been giving a lot more power of the drama to the girls, and I feel like when their emotions come into it, as much as we'd all like to be like, we would choose the right one and be fair about it, it's hard to put your feelings aside. So I'm sure there was a little bit of that in their attack on Kameron.
And also, like, the gays aren't always all together. You said it yourself. The community isn't always on the same page. Right. So when you put a lot of queens in one room, of course you're going to get drama.
Different personalities,
you know,
too,
and the act producers, of course. Like, so I just feel like, you're not always going to get along. But at the end of the day, you know, the edit can have an edit, but we always say it. What you say is what you say.
What you say is what you say.
And because she was quiet, I don't know if she could be judged on that. Because like I was telling you earlier this week, usually when people meet me, I'm not giving you the full judge. Y'all know, I'm pretty like shy for the most part. Like as far as like joking and giving you the full kiki. Now, it isn't until I get to really know you and like you're around me, like maybe in my personal space or just out and about, then I'm like giving you the full judge because I'm out, I'm comfortable, and so just because Kameron wasn't giving them, you know, her full what they feel like she is, like in that room, doesn't mean they can just think they don't have the right to decide who she is, You know, oh, you're with this quiet bird in the room, now you want to be loud and chirpy and all this personality, and it's like, yeah, bitch, because it's my life,
Well, there's also a level of you're in a competition and you want to stay focused too. So I feel like I would be like that, like Miss Cracker was like that a lot too, kind of distancing herself and in her head a lot of the time. And I would be like that too. You want to kiki and have a good time, but you have to remember this is a competition, and these girls are your competition. So, you know, I can't fault her for anything she really did on the show. She was unfriendly doing that. If it's true that she's not friendly at like events and things like that now, and she doesn't respond to them, I don't know. I don't know if that's true. If that's true, I don't like to hear that. But
I think they were just trying to come for Kameron.
I don't know. Monique was really worked up about it. Monique Hart was really like,
who is that?
Who is that girl? Yeah, I was like, oh, she was.
I would
really
have been like, the bitch you salty about, sis.
Right? I don't know. A few of the girls were salty. A few of the girls were salty. I don't know. I guess it's just what happens at the end of the season.
Right.
They did get to all kind of like read each other. The library was open. They all got to read each other a little bit, maybe to release a little bit of that tension. Dusty was good. I was like, yes, that's my New York queen. Kill him. Yeah. It was pretty funny.
When fucking Calorie was like, what did she say? She's like, Vanessa Vanjie Mateo. What, bitch?
Sounded like a drunk hobo.
How does it feel to have a catchphrase last longer than you? She's like, I don't know, I love having catchphrase. Who are you again?
Yeah, right? But like, that was good. I love the playful.
Then I actually Googled who Calorie. I was like, who is this bitch?
You're so sick. You were living for Calorie.
You were living for that bitch.
I was, hey bitch.
You wanted to pork that porker. We all know. You loved her little...
Yes, Sam.
You were ready for her jelly. So at the end of the show, they all kind of asked all of the girls, who do they think should win? Most of the votes went to Eureka and Aquaria, no surprise. A couple, I think, said Asia, but nobody picked Kameron Michaels, and she looked a little hurt about it.
I don't blame her for feeling that way. Her feelings were hurt. She busted her fucking ass off to be in that competition and slayed non-stop. I mean, she had a few little
bumps, but who didn't? Yeah.
But that's just, it's not cool. I like, even to this day, I think Asia was just a flat-out bitch for telling Miss Cracker that she was not a star. I think that was just mean.
She did apologize, right? I mean, she kind of did eventually apologize, but...
Right. But it goes to show you, though, like, your word doesn't always speak for you, and it sucks, you know, you could...
Not on a reality show anymore.
Well, I feel like that's in general. You could literally, like any job, you could literally be putting in the work.
Day in, day out.
Because someone doesn't like your personality or doesn't feel like you like them, or just because someone can perceive you a certain way, it doesn't matter what you've done. Right. And I feel like this isn't just in Drag Race, it just goes to show you, like, people are gonna go with what they want.
Right. Although, really though.
I love you though.
None of us picked her for the winner too, so we can't get mad at the other queens.
But not for the same reason. I feel like the queens are saying it just because they want to be a bitch. Do you know what I mean? Like, ours is just, I don't think that she's been as consistent with her.
I want to be a bitch. No, I love Kameron, and I felt like she's deserving of top 4. But calm down, y'all.
Calm down. I don't know. It was an interesting reunion. I thought it was interesting that they didn't name Miss Congeniality.
Oh yeah,
they did last year. Do it or fan favorite, either or. They'll do it on the reunion or on the finale.
They do. Yeah. You already got the team.
I know. I know who wins.
I don't, but I'm sure they'll do it at the finale. So, oh well.
Can I say this though?
No.
Don't ruin it. We only have like 3 more days.
I know, I'll just be like literally
no.
Do you want to know if you're going to be disappointed or if you're going to be happy? Do you at least want to know?
I feel like either way, if you tell me either way, I'm going to figure out who. So
you're gonna, I don't think you will, actually.
But no, I guess
no! God, I can't. It's like, girl, it's like it just wants to come out.
Oh my God.
You good? No. But wait, no. Okay,
I'm not going to tell you guys. No, I'll tell you.
No.
It just girl, Thursday's around the corner. Come on.
Right, it's only a couple days away. Yeah.
Oh my God, it is. Who is it? Who's gonna take it home?
I don't know, but
anyway. Who do you want to take it home?
The crown?
Yeah.
Oh.
Who I think probably deserves is Aquarian.
I know.
I don't want to say.
I know Aquaria deserves it. Aquaria deserves it. She does.
Okay, let's not act like Eureka doesn't though. Like I
just feel like Eureka's image has been so fucking tarnished from this whole Vixen drama. Like it, not just for me, but with the Drag Race fan base in general. Like go to her comment section, girl. They're going.
People really hate her. They really do.
It goes to show, like that's not what it's about. It's about being able to go through something, learn as an individual. I mean, just because it sucks because she has to do it in front of social media and in a bigger platform. Right. But bitch, we all say and do shit that's like, oh bitch, I learned from that. Like I can't even believe I went through that. You know, so I'm just like, don't let these moments define any of these queens.
Right.
If they put in the work, that's good. There's something to be said.
All their careers, they're gonna have longevity. Like, you know, they just gotta keep working their asses off.
Either way, I wouldn't be upset. Eureka or Aquaria.
Eureka or Aquaria. Yeah, they're gonna take it. One of them is for sure. We'll all be happy either way, I think. All right. Well, I can't believe it. Only the finale is left. One more episode. It's been a really long season and a really long, like, 6 months of Drag Race. So we're finally gonna get a little break after next week. We love Drag Race.
All-Stars.
It was All-Stars to this, and then DragCon, and then it's been a lot. It's been a lot. So we need a little Drag Race break for sure. But we're definitely excited about the finale. I can't wait to see what happens, who takes it, who's Miss Congeniality. Let us know in the comments all of your thoughts on the reunion, the Vixen drama. Let us know what you thought. Let us know who you're rooting for, who's gonna get Miss Congeniality. Put it all in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe, share, you know the drill like always. And thank you guys so much for watching this episode. We will be back next week for the finale recap. Thank you guys.
Bye.